Welcome to the No DQ live recap of AEW Dynamite for April the 21st, 2022. Shout out to everybody watching this, whether it's live or on demand. I appreciate your viewership and support. Let's go ahead and get started with this recap, which had some really solid wrestling, and we also had build up towards the upcoming Blood and Guts cage match, which will be on May 5th in 2 weeks. We started Dynamite with Ricky Starks versus Paige, not Diamond Dallas Page, not Ethan Page, but Hangman Adam Page. And before the match, we had a brief promo from Starks that was pre-recorded, said that Paige cannot handle the pressure. You had Hook, Taz's son, at ringside. Taz was on commentary for the match. Paige hit this really cool looking reverse fall away slam, which was turned into a pinfall, got a near fall early on. And basically, Paige hit all these big moves trying to put away Starks, the young Starks, putting up a fight, staying in it with the guy who has the best win-loss record in AEW. By the way, do you guys think Paige is going to be the one that eventually beats Omega for the title? I'm wondering if AEW is building him up with the win-loss record. Paige is on a roll right now, and he'll finally get that opportunity, and he's the homegrown star. He'll beat Omega for the title. What do you guys think? Do you see Paige being that guy that eventually dethrones Omega for the championship? And by the way, Kenny Omega this weekend, Sunday night, will be facing Rich Swann, champion versus champion. Rich Swann, of course, the Impact Wrestling World Champion. AEW barely mentioned it, though, but they did reference it once on this show. And there was a commercial for Rebellion during one of the breaks. I think they should have done more to hype this up on Dynamite, maybe even had Rich Swann appear on the show, but did not happen. Spoiler alert. Anyways, back to the match. Starks was able to avoid a buckshot lariat attempt and hit a spear for a near fall, but Paige did pick up the victory with an ankle submission earlier in the match. Starks was selling his ankle, and Paige exploited it, picked up the victory here. And after the match was over, Taz called Paige a dummy, called him lucky, and warned Paige to watch his back. And sure enough, right when he said that, Hook came in with a chop block, but then Cage arrived, not Christian Cage, but Brian Cage. Brian Cage showed up, and he was going to help finish off Paige. The Dark Order made the save. You know, Adam Page, he's a good guy, and he actually has friends, unlike people in WWE, baby faces in WWE. I feel like nobody who's a top face in WWE has any friends, like Drew McIntyre. Nobody ever comes to his aid. Adam Page is a really good guy because he's got the Dark Order watching his back. Anytime he's in trouble, they're coming out there to help him. So, gotta love that Adam Page actually has some friends. Nice way to start off the show here. We had the Elite arriving, Kenny Omega, the world champ, Young Bucks, the tag champs, and the Good Brothers. Are they even still part of Impact Wrestling? I haven't been keeping up with Impact, so I'm not even sure if they're still part of Impact or if they're now AEW regulars. I'm not sure what's going on with them, but they're part of the Elite. And they went into their trailer just to kick back and relax. We had Trent versus Pentagon with his translator, Alex. Back and forth match here. Fun match between these guys. Penta hit a destroyer pretty early on, but could not make a pinfall. And then later on, Penta hit a backstabber, got another near fall. And Trent hit a pile driver on the apron to gain the upper hand on Penta. He speared Penta on the outside. And then we had the translator, Alex, getting on the mic and started trash talking, and then all hell started to break loose because the translator was saying that Penta told him earlier that Trent sucks, his friends suck, and most importantly, his mom sucks. And you don't insult Sue, Trent's mom. You just don't do that. Trent grabbed the chair. He was going to use it, but he finally cooled off a little bit. At this point, Orange Cassidy got into the ring and was going to attack Alex, but then Orange Cassidy got hit with a super kick. And then Alex used the microphone, and Penta picked up the victory. After the microphone shot from Alex to Trent, Penta picked up the win with the package pile driver. So, fun match here between these guys. And we had the Pinnacle interviewed backstage, and apparently, according to NXT Scorpio in the chat, Good Brothers are still part of Impact Wrestling. We had the Pinnacle interviewed by Jim Ross, and Wardlow even talked a little bit. He said that Jericho is a good promo, but not as good as MJF. And MJF then went on this little tirade and said that Jericho gets an F as far as giving people the rub goes. MJF is the one guy that Jericho could not outsmart. And then MJF really went into Miz mode, talking about how people say he's great for 25. And he's like, great for 25? That's horse shit. He said he's great, period. And he's already beaten Jericho. And he said that he is a mark. He admits it. He's a mark for Jericho's spot. And he will take it at Blood and Guts. We had an AEW Women's Championship match. Hikaru Shida versus Ty Conti. And it was actually not in the 9:25, 9:30 spot. It was before the end of the first hour. How about that? AEW changing things up here. So we had this match, pretty good match here between the ladies, back and forth. They did bows before the match, which was a nice touch. And Ty got some offense in. 2 knees to the face, got an early near fall. Used some Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but Shida was able to get to the rope, and she rolled to the outside. She ended up giving Ty a brain buster on the floor, and then got her back in the ring. Did some submission wrestling for a while, and Conti was able to make a comeback. And then Shida hit a Falcon Arrow for a near fall. Ty came back with that with the Ty KO. Shida kicked out of that. And then Shida hit a backbreaker followed by her spinning kick to pick up the victory and retain her championship. Again, good match here from the ladies. And afterwards, Britt Baker showed up on the stage and showed on the big screen that she's now the #1 ranked woman in AEW, so she should be getting her title shot soon. Maybe at Double or Nothing. Maybe we finally get Britt Baker as champion. Israel Diaz says now is Britt Baker's time. Well, the thing that makes me wonder if she'll get the title is on commentary, they were talking about how Shida's been the champion of the pandemic and she hasn't had the chance to defend the title in front of a full crowd. I wonder if that's a hint that she's going to be champion for a while. But then again, Drew McIntyre was champ all that time, champion of the pandemic, and didn't even get to win it at WrestleMania. But this is AEW, not WWE, and maybe Shida will be a long-term champion. But I'm hoping Britt wins it. I want to see Britt Baker get the title and go all out, to use a term from AEW, with Britt Baker as champion and the face of the division. I think it's her time. We had a vignette with Miro. It looks like AEW is trying to build him up now and get people to take him more seriously. The question is it too little, too late? We'll have to wait and see. He basically said that he needs his vindication, and if somebody has a title they have a problem because Miro is coming for championships and AEW cannot keep him from his destiny any longer. We had Tony Schiavone in the ring interviewing the Inner Circle, although really Tony was just standing there the whole time. He was just a bystander, more or less. And the Inner Circle hyped up the Blood and Guts match. Hager talked a little bit, which probably isn't the best idea. Talked about how he's got a bunch of straws because the Pinnacle is going to need them after the Inner Circle beats them up. They'll be beaten so bad they'll need to eat and drink with a straw. Santana talked a little bit, saying that Pinnacle, they've been making some bitch moves, and we'll see how big their hearts are at the Blood and Guts match. And then Jericho sang a little song about MJF, saying that MJF is such a dipshit, and he knows it's true. And Jericho said that next week they'll meet face-to-face, both teams, in a parlay, a conference to set up the Blood and Guts match. And Jericho finished off by saying that MJF better own his soul because the Inner Circle will own his ass. Good promo here from Jericho and company. Well, not Hager, but good promo from Jericho and Santana. But not as good as last week, in my opinion. I did think last week's was a bit stronger. Still, Jericho, solid stuff as usual. We had Billy Gunn versus QT Marshall. And I have to say, Billy Gunn, I haven't seen him wrestle much lately because I haven't been watching Dark or Elevation. The dude is in tremendous shape. For 57, that is phenomenal. Like hell. I wish I was in that good a shape now. I mean, Billy Gunn, he's a genetic freak, you know. He might have to be the new genetic freak instead of Scott Steiner, because Billy Gunn is like standing the test of time with his physique. Pretty incredible stuff here. So Billy Gunn versus QT Marshall. The Factory was out there, and Billy went right after those guys, and they were trying to interfere, and Billy Gunn's kids came in and evened the odds. And pretty good match here with these guys. But then Ogogo, one of the Factory guys, came in and hit Billy with the gut punch, which is his finisher. He's been using it over the last several AEW events. And then QT came in with the diamond cutter, picked up the victory, and was going to use a wooden chair after the match, but Dustin Rhodes made the save with a bull rope, and then Dustin grabbed that wooden chair and hit Nick Camarado with it, but Nick completely no-sold it. For those of you that remember back in the day, they did an angle with Big Bubba Rogers, a.k.a. Big Boss Man, where they broke a chair over his head and he completely no-sold it. And then several years later, when Ming Haku went into WCW, they did the same thing where they broke a chair over his head and he just completely no-sold it. So they did a little recreation of that for Camarado. I liked it. Good stuff here. Good throwback. And yes, Israel Diaz says maybe QT versus Dustin in a bull rope match at some point. I would think that would explain why he brought the bull rope out there. No Matt Hardy in response to Muhammad on this show. Actually, he was in a Jade Cargill vignette, which I'll get to here in a minute. But first, let's talk about what happened with the Elite. They were in their trailer, and this is the one time that there was a reference to Rich Swann. Well, not even a reference to him, just the fact, pretty much the only thing that Don Callis said was that Kenny Omega is the soon-to-be Impact World Champion, and that was it. No graphic other than that commercial that was shown during one of the breaks. I thought they would have done a lot more to set up this match for Sunday and make a big deal out of it. You know, they didn't really do much. They're just like, oh, Omega's going to win another title on Sunday. So, yeah, I would have done more. I would have had Rich Swann on this show to do something to hype up the match. Anyways, Matt Jackson talked a little bit and said it's all elite wrestling, not all Moxley wrestling or all Kingston wrestling, and wanted to know where they're at. And right on cue, we heard some honking, and then it was revealed that Moxley and Kingston were outside in a truck, and they drove right in to the trailer, and then they got out. Moxley had a pipe, started smashing the trailer windows. They went in there, but the Elite managed to escape. So it was kind of like an old Attitude Era style segment, with the vehicles driving into other vehicles type of scenario. But it was cool. I liked it. And, I think Kingston's definitely getting the rub off of Moxley, which is a good thing. Elon Brown says Rich Swann should have showed up or something. It's too predictable. Omega is going to win. Yeah, I think I'm going to do a poll on Twitter, or not a poll, but one of those retweet deals where if Rich Swann wins the AEW World title, I'll give away a t-shirt or a gift card or something. So be on the lookout for that over at twitter.com/Aaron Rift. I think I'm going to post something. We had Christian Cage versus Powerhouse Hobbs from Team Taz. And Hobbs exposed the guardrail, which has like the TNT banner over it. He ripped that apart and started grinding Cage's face into the guardrail. Hobbs controlled the match for a while, but Christian was able to make his comeback and eventually won with the kill switch. Pretty decent match here between these guys, I guess Powerhouse Hobbs getting a little bit of experience working with the veteran Christian. It was solid. Fine match. We had a vignette for Jade Cargill, and basically she's teasing the idea that she'll be getting a manager, but she said she doesn't need a manager. She's her own boss, and if she does have somebody sign her, it better be a hell of a deal. And there was a little brief clip of Matt Hardy and Taz and the various managers and coaches in AEW. So I guess that's a storyline. We'll have to see how that plays out. We had our main event of the evening, which was Darby Allin versus Jungle Boy for the TNT Championship. Very good main event here with these guys back and forth. They both went over the barricade before the commercial. And then after the break, Jungle Boy picked up some momentum. He did 3 dives to Darby. And then Darby made a comeback. He did a coffin drop to the apron, the hardest part of the ring, as they always like to say. And then Jungle Boy was about to get counted out. Luchasaurus helped Jungle Boy back in the ring to beat the 10 count. And Sting did not care for this. Sting got in Luchasaurus's face, and then the two of them started fighting. They fought to the backstage area, and we had some near falls here. Jungle Boy kept trying to put the champ away, could not do it. He got the snare trap submission on, but Darby had to actually gouge the eyes to break the hold, and then there were dueling chants from the fans. They were chanting, "This is awesome." And all of a sudden, pretty much out of nowhere, Darby Allin picked up the win with the Last Supper pinfall. And then after the match was over, Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page attacked both guys. Lance Archer made the save and was going to chokeslam both of them. They kicked him low blow from both of them. And then Sting came back with a baseball bat, and the heels fled the scene. And Elon Brown says the dinosaur versus Sting. Yeah, that was kind of interesting to see Luchasaurus selling for Sting, but I guess he did get the upper hand. The only thing is what happened to Luchasaurus at the end. So overall, good show from Dynamite. I enjoyed it from start to finish. Solid B. And up to this point, best show of the week. We still have SmackDown on Friday. And Dr. NXT Scorpio says, is Lance Archer a face again? Who knows? I mean, could just be that he's being a good guy for now and he's going to snap at some point. Who knows? And yeah, Israel Diaz, maybe Miro will be the one to finally beat Darby for the title and be the new TNT champion. Seeing a lot of B's and B pluses in the chat room. Nick Lavin and Israel and Lewis give it a B plus. Dr. NXT Scorpio MVP Kev and Michael Wayne give the show a solid B. Definitely worth watching, in my opinion. So thank you guys for checking out this recap of Dynamite. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the No DQ review and SmackDown, and maybe a great No DQ debate this weekend. Subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on notifications, tell a friend, and I will see you guys next time.